Can you tell me a little bit what drove you and what was the motivation behind you wanting to become the president-elect for the fiscal year 25, and what that means to you for your career, and what kind of legacy you would hope to give to the institution should you become elected?
One of the things that I think I'm most interested in accomplishing, should I have the benefit of being elected, is that ASCE has always been known for 20 plus years for developing the infrastructure report card for the United States. And it's a model that we should be exporting to other countries because it's part of our education effort for legislators, for elected individuals and their staff, and the general public. And you never heard elected officials in the United States talk about infrastructure in any of their talks specifically. But in the last 5, 6, 7 years, every person in elected office talks about infrastructure, and that is a great benefit because ASCE put that out there. In addition to that, ASCE is publishing a gap story, the economic gap for not investing in infrastructure. They've previously had publications called Failure to Act, which is they retain economic consultants to evaluate what is my loss when my roadway has holes in it, or my water line's not working, to me as an individual, to a family, to a business, and they quantified that. That helped us get the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act passed through Congress 2 years ago, and we're now making much greater investments in all the transportation fields. So the legacy is to continue the great work of ASCE, but to expand our education so everyone can understand what the role of a civil engineer is and how we make the world a better place.
Civil engineering is a great vehicle for diplomacy, for uniting people and getting them to talk about the very basic infrastructure needs that we all share around the world. And I believe that that is going to be probably part of the legacy you'd like to leave behind.
Absolutely. And in addition to that, which is very important, ASCE is really a leader in establishing public policy statements. We have about 165 public policy statements that are renewed on a 3-year return cycle, and they cover every aspect of infrastructure and every aspect of not only investment but policy regulations that we work in civil engineers. And ASCE has an influence on that, a positive influence in helping guide decision makers as to how things should be done for the best investment and doing the right project. As a civil engineer, I think we're in the greatest profession. Why? Because we improve the quality of life of both individuals and entire communities and even potentially entire countries. And it's so satisfying to do that. Not only that, but we're really masters of the built environment. We're protectors of the natural environment. And our primary mission is public safety, health, and welfare.
I wanted to ask you, what are the next steps in this process? How will this process unfold?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So the process starts with a submission of your self-nomination as a candidate for president-elect as a submission of December 1st. And then you go before a nominating committee of ASCE in early January, and they put 2 candidates forward. And then each of the candidates, we attend these multi-region leadership conferences. So 2 weeks ago I was in Kansas City, Missouri. Today I'm in Miami. And in 2 weeks from now I'll be in Seattle, Washington, and that will cover the domestic regions of ASCE, of which there are 9 total. And we then have the election, which is May 1st to June 1st.
Okay.
And every ASCE member will get a unique code to go online and place their vote. And in addition to that, ASCE is, of course, already published the 2 candidates, who we are. We have vision statements online on asce.org. We have our biographies, and you can get to know me a little bit better there.
Where
And,
could
that's
people
the process.
find that information?
So you go to asce.org/elections, and it'll be right there.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What is your vision statement?
My philosophy is that we're doing great work, we can do greater work. I grew up in an era, and I worked both in the public and private sector, but most of the time the mantra was do more with less, which is, kind of an oxymoron, but in fact you find a way to do it. And we become more efficient. We figure out better ways to do things. We have collaborative efforts, and we produce better results. And so I think that ASCE can continue its great work, but we can do more. I mentioned public policy, I mentioned advocacy. Those are two areas that are great, but ASCE also publishes the Civil Engineering Body of Knowledge, which every college student should be looking at, and younger members, so that they understand what they need to learn in order to be in responsible charge.
As a former interim city manager and city engineer, director of public works at the city of Laguna Hills, where you probably made the biggest dent in your career there, how do you feel that such institutional work helped prepare you for this candidacy?
Well, there's two parts to that question. One is that I was given a lot of leadership opportunity through my employment. The original city manager, that city was incorporated in 1991. I came to work for them initially as a consultant in 1992. And I spent 3 years as a consultant, and then they brought me on board as an employee. And I spent a total of 30 years at the city. We built that community. It was, we fixed the problems. We solved traffic issues. We repaved all the streets. We rehabilitated all the parks. We built a 43,000 square foot community center and 18-acre sports park that had never been there before. And then we worked on accessibility issues at public facilities, including at intersections. The simple act of building an accessible ramp at an intersection to help a disabled person get from point A to B easier is so satisfying. ASCE offers a lot of leadership training, and so I give a lot of credit to both my city employment and ASCE for my leadership skills.
Wonderful. What would be your message to the C-suite members of the large engineering firms regarding an opportunity to support ASCE for their, upcoming, their superstars that are coming up through the ranks?
Well, I love that question, because if you're a C-suite executive and you're not encouraging and supporting your employees to be a member of ASCE, you are not getting the most out of your employees. You will benefit greatly by having ASCE members in your organization. There's a lot of technical content, and there's a lot of leadership content, and there's a lot of public policy content or advocacy content. Your firm will do better with the more ASCE members that you have. And in addition to that, ASCE has a partners program. And if you join the partners program, everybody gets a discount on their annual dues.
I have a question, more of a curiosity. American Society for Civil Engineers, of course, gives me the impression that it is an American thing, but when I think of America, I think of Canada to Argentina, because that's our Western Hemisphere. So I must believe that there's a lot of participation in Canada and in Mexico particularly, which are adjacent to us. Are there any exchange programs between Canada and Mexico within the North American continent?
Well, very interesting that you asked that question, because ASCE is set up both geographically and by specialty. And so geographically, we have 9 geographic units, which is North America. And this change was made some years ago, where Canada and Mexico are in what we previously referred to as the domestic regions of the United States. So it's actually North America. Everyone else in the world is considered Region 10. And separate from that, we have our 9 institutes that people can be involved in as part of your membership or as an addition to your membership. And so we're integrating Canada and Mexico into our regular operations.
That is phenomenal. Kent, it's so good to see you in Miami. I want to wish you well. I want to wish that this campaign goes, not campaign, but this desire to become a president-elect is something that gets realized. And I am really excited to have had a conversation with Ken Roselfield, candidate to become a future president-elect of the American Society for Civil Engineers.
My pleasure. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And connect with me on LinkedIn.
Wonderful.